Hi guys, this is Brittany from By Brittany Goldwyn. I post videos about plants and projects, and today we are doing a quick little video on how to save seeds from dill plants. I love planting dill, not just because I like making pickles with it in the summer, but because it's a really great host plant for the swallowtail butterfly. Now, I plant a lot of dill and I succession plant it throughout the season because I like to let it flower and go to seed, and I like to let the butterflies just devour it. So I save a lot of dill seeds so I never have to buy it, or else I'd be going through a lot of dill seeds. I mean, I have it everywhere around my yard. So I'm gonna show you guys how to let your plant flower, what that looks like, and how to save your seeds. So here's an example of a healthy growing young dill plant. You can see there's no flowering or anything. It's just got all of these little leaves and foliage that you can pull off and use for things. Now this plant will get to a point where it starts to flower, which I'll show you next. So here's what a dill plant looks like when it is starting to flower. It has these really small, delicate yellow flowers that sprout in umbels off of the plant. Now, when the plant is starting to flower and go to seed, you will probably notice it getting taller like this. So now my dill plant here, I mean, this has always been a large, tall variety of dill, but this stem, this main stem here, has definitely elongated and put out a bunch of different umbels of flowers. It's no longer focusing on putting out this dill foliage that we grow the plant for. It is instead a little bit leggier and taller, and it is putting out these different umbels of flowers. Now at this point, the plant has probably stopped producing much foliage at all because it's focusing most of its energy on completing its life cycle, which means flowering and going to seed. Now I cut a bunch of different stalks off of another dill plant to show you guys up close what the seeds start to look like as the plant flowers and starts completely going to seed. So you will notice those little yellow flowers beginning to fade, and they will start to look something like this. So these are the actual seeds, but you don't want to pick them at this point yet. They're still pretty green. Eventually, you will start to notice the seed heads kind of turn to a little bit of a brownish look. I'm looking for one that has a good mixed example here. Maybe this one? No, that one looks pretty dry. But you will notice some of the seeds on here start to kind of turn brownish. This is an example of a seed head where the seeds are turning pretty brown. So on the giant umbel of flowers, everywhere that there was a tiny yellow flower, there's probably going to be a seed. Now these seeds will fall from the plant and reseed themselves under your existing plant very readily. I mean, these, where we live, these generally will fall and make it through the winter and then just sprout up random places. And I love that because dill is such a compact, tall plant that I can just let it grow anywhere that it pops up unless it's in a super inconvenient spot. So I like to let a lot of these seeds just fall because it's one less thing that I have to worry about planting next year, and it's fun to see where they pop up next year. But if you want to take the seeds off and maybe store them or share them, I'm gonna take a lot of these seeds off and bring them to a new seed bank at a local library that I spotted today. All you have to do is just take your fingers here and pull them off. I like to pull them off in little groups. It's kind of really hard to see here, but this is about what they look like. So they are pretty small, and you don't want to pull them off of the plant until they are really brown. Really brown and hard. You don't want any green or any yellowish tint left. You want to wait until they're so brittle that when you grab that little umbel of seeds from the stalk, they kind of just fall off into your hand. Now, sometimes it can be a little tricky catching the seeds when they're ready, but before they drop to the ground. So just keep an eye on your plants, and as soon as you notice that the majority of the seeds on the flower stalk have turned to be a brown color, you can pull them off and store them. I still recommend, even though they are dried by this point, putting all of the seeds out on a paper towel or something like that and putting them in a windowsill and letting them sit for 24 hours or so, just to make sure that any additional moisture that's in there has evaporated, so you don't have any moisture issues when you're storing the seeds. That's pretty much all you need to do to store dill seeds, to save dill seeds. So yeah, I hope you guys found this helpful. Plant lots and lots of dill. It's really awesome for butterflies, and it's really awesome for your garden too. So until next time, happy planting.